The badge scanner beeped red for the third time, and Odell Ferris stepped back from the turnstile like it had bitten him. "Sir, you can't keep doing that," said the receptionist, not looking up from her monitor. Her nameplate read Verlene Boyce, and her voice had the flat, practiced boredom of someone who had said the same sentence to 100 people who weren't worth the extra breath. "I was told there'd be a badge waiting," Odell said. "Ferris. Odell." Verlene typed something, waited, typed again. Nothing under that name. He glanced at the clock above her head. 8:47. He'd left his daughter, Ren, at her aunt's apartment at 6:15 that morning, her hair still in the lopsided braid he tried and failed to fix, her backpack packed with the wrong folder because he'd grabbed it in the dark. He'd worn his good shirt, the one without the collar frayed, and pressed it himself on the kitchen counter because the iron board was still at his ex-wife's place, along with half of everything else that used to be his. "Can you just take a seat?" Verlene said. "It wasn't a question. Someone will come get you when they're ready." He took a seat. The lobby of Corvine Holdings occupied the ground floor of a building that used to be a textile mill, all exposed brick and steel beams, the kind of place that photographed well for a company website. Odell sat in a low leather chair that put his knees up near his chest, and he waited, and the morning moved around him like he was furniture. A man in a navy suit walked past, phone against his ear, saying something about a 9 o'clock. He didn't look at Odell. A woman with a lanyard full of badges, real badges, badges that worked held the door for the man in navy, but let it swing shut 2 feet from Odell's face without a glance. He caught it with his palm before it could latch. By 9:30, 3 different employees had asked him, in 3 different tones, whether he was waiting on someone or supposed to be here. Each time he explained. Each time they nodded like they believed him, and then didn't do anything about it. At 10, a young woman in a cardigan the color of a robin's egg sat down 2 seats away and unwrapped a granola bar. She glanced at him, his boots, worn soft at the toe, the file folder in his lap with the corner bent from being shoved into a bag that morning, and she leaned slightly away. The way you lean away from something you've decided, without saying so, might be a problem. "You need me to call someone?" she asked. "Security, I mean. Not I just. If you need to be somewhere else." "I have a meeting," Odell said. 9 o'clock. "It's 10 now." "With who?" "Mr. Ventris." She laughed, not unkindly, just surprised. The laugh of someone who'd heard a joke land wrong. "Roscoe Ventris? The CEO? That's what I was told." She looked at him a beat longer, and Odell watched her decide something. The same way Verlene had decided something. The same way the man in navy had decided something without even breaking stride. She got up and threw the granola wrapper away and didn't come back. He didn't blame them, not really. He knew what he looked like sitting there, the collar shirt with the crease still visible from being pressed on a countertop, the boots, the way he held the folder against his chest, like it was the only solid thing in the room. He knew what a man looked like when the world had decided a while back that he didn't need to be looked at too closely. At 11:40, his phone buzzed. His sister-in-law, Marlene. "Ren has a fever. Nothing crazy. 99.8. But she wants you." He typed back with his thumb, fast, apologetic. Promised he'd call at lunch, and put the phone face down on his knee like that would make the guilt sit still. Around noon, Chalmers Pruitt came through the lobby. Odell knew the name because Chalmers wore it on a little brass placard clipped to his blazer. Office manager, Corvine Holdings, like a man who needed the reminder more than anyone else did. Chalmers stopped in front of him, hands in his pockets, rocking slightly on his heels. "You're still here?" "I am. Look, I don't know what the situation is, but this isn't a place for we've got clients coming through this lobby all day, investors. It doesn't look good." "I have an appointment," Odell said, for the 5th time that day, and he heard his own voice go thinner with each repetition, like a coin worn down from being handled. "With Roscoe." "Yes." Chalmers exhaled through his nose, the particular exhale of a man who has decided you're lying. but doesn't want the argument that would come from saying so. I'll send someone down. No one came down. At 12:20, hungry and lightheaded, Odell walked to the vending machine near the elevators and fed it. A crumpled dollar for a bag of pretzels. And a woman waiting for the elevator. 35 maybe. Sharp blazer. Phone clipped to her ear covered the mouthpiece with her hand and said to him not unkindly, but not gently either. The lobby bathrooms around the side. If that's what you're looking for. He hadn't asked about a bathroom. He understood. In the 2 seconds it took her to say it in turn. Back to her call. Exactly what she thought he was. He didn't correct her. He took his pretzels and sat back down. By 1 o'clock, he'd called Marlene. Ren's fever had climbed to 100.4, and she was asking for him in. The particular hiccuping voice she used. When she was trying not to cry about something bigger than the thing she was crying about, school, most likely. The fact that her friend Dessa's mom had picked her up on Tuesday in a car that wasn't 12 years old. The small math a 7-year-old does about. What's different about her house now? Tell her, I'll be there by 4, Odell said. Tell her I love her more than pancakes. She knows, Odell. Tell her anyway. He hung up and sat with the phone warm in his hand and thought, not for the first time that day, about walking out, about how 9 hours ago, he'd told himself this was the last long shot he'd chased before. He gave up on the whole idea and went back to driving the overnight route for the freight company. The job that paid the bills but ate every hour. He wasn't asleep. The job that meant Ren spent more nights with Marlene than with him. At 2:15, woman named Adela Krantz, 26. 2 years out of a business program in Ohio, still new enough to the building that she hadn't learned its unspoken rules, walked past Odell twice on her way to and from the printer, and the second time she stopped. Sir, you've been here since I got in this morning. Is somebody helping you? It was, Odell would think later, the first question anyone had asked him all day that sounded like it was actually asking something, rather than asking him to leave in a softer shape. No, he said. Not yet. Adela looked at the elevator bank, chewed the inside of her cheek, and said, give me 10 minutes. She was gone for 26. When she came back, her face had changed, not dramatically, but in the way a face changes when it has learned something it didn't expect to learn. She didn't sit down next to him. She stood a little too straight, a little too careful with her hands. Mr. Ferris, she said, Mr. Ventris is ready for you now. I'm so sorry about the wait. It's fine. It's not, actually, she said, and something in her voice cracked just slightly, like ice under the first bit of weight. Do you want me to walk you up? He didn't ask what had changed in the 26 minutes she'd been gone. He'd find out soon enough. He gathered the bent folder against his chest and followed her to the elevator. And this time, she held the door. The ride to the 9th floor was quiet, except for the small, mechanical hum of the building working around them, and Odell watched the numbers climb and thought about pretzels and fevers and pressed shirts and a woman at the elevator bank who thought he needed the bathroom. I have. Roscoe Ventris's office had a view of the river and a desk, clean enough to suggest he did most of his real work somewhere else. He stood when Odell walked and actually stood, came around the desk, extended a hand that Odell shook out of habit before his brain caught up to the strangeness of it. Mr. Ferris, God, I am so sorry. Security had you flagged as a walk-in, not a scheduled visitor. Someone dropped the ball on the badge request, and I only just found out you'd been sitting down there since before 9. That's not how I wanted this morning to go, for you of all people. It's fine, Odell said again, because it was the sentence his mouth knew how to make. It's not, Roscoe said, echoing Adela almost word for word, and gestured for him to sit. Do you know why I asked you to come in today? The letter said final signature, Odell said, on the transfer. Right. Roscoe sat on the edge of his desk instead of behind it, which Odell understood distantly as a kind of apology in itself. 22 months ago, your late uncle, Garrett Voss, held 41% of this company. Quiet money, the kind nobody in this building ever thought about, because he never once set foot in it. When he passed, that stake came to you, and for almost 2 years, you let it sit in probate and trust paperwork while lawyers argued about valuation because, and I want to say I understand this, you had a daughter to raise and a route to drive and no interest in a fight over a company you'd never seen. Odell said nothing. He hadn't told anyone in this building any of that. He hadn't told most people in his life any of that. But the trust settled last month, Roscoe went on, which means, as of 9 a.m. this morning, the exact time you were sitting in our lobby getting told to wait, you became the majority shareholder of Corvine Holdings, 41% from your uncle, plus the 11% I sold you last week to get you to 52. Because, frankly, Mr. Ferris, I'd rather work for a man who drives a night freight route to keep his daughter in shoes than answer to another private equity fund that's never met a payroll it didn't want to shrink. The room went very quiet. Somewhere below them, 9 floors down, was a lobby with a leather chair, still faintly warm from a body that had sat there most of a day being told, in a dozen small ways, that he didn't belong. The paperwork on your desk downstairs, Roscoe said, sliding a folder across, is this week's payroll run, 211 employees. It needs a signature from the majority holder before Friday. That's you now. Odell looked at the folder. At the top of the first page, in small type, was a list of names, sorted by department. He found Verlene Boyce, front desk. He found Chalmers Pruitt, facilities. He found, near the bottom, Idella Krantz, junior associate, and beside her name, a note flagged in red, requested pay advance, approved pending signature. He thought about the 26 minutes Idella had been gone. He understood now what she'd learned and when. You don't have to sign it today, Roscoe said, watching his face. I know it's been a day. No, Odell said quietly. I'll sign it. He picked up the pen. His hand, he noticed, was steadier than he expected. He signed his name, Odell J. Ferris, the same signature he used on late permission slips and overdraft apology letters, and the divorce papers he still hadn't fully forgiven himself for signing. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, the name meant something. In a room besides his own kitchen. Downstairs, when he stepped out of the elevator 40 minutes later, Verlene Boyce was already standing, already coming around the desk, her face doing something complicated with an apology it didn't yet have the words for. Chalmers Pruitt hovered near the far wall like a man deciding whether it was safer to approach or disappear. Idella stood by the front doors, holding them open, though there was no wind to keep out, and no one behind him she needed to let in. Odell didn't need any of them to say anything. He'd spent 9 hours learning exactly what this room thought of him, and he understood, walking back through it now, that the room hadn't changed, only what it knew. Mr. Ferris, Verlene started. I am so. You did your job, Odell said. I didn't have a badge. That's a real rule. He kept walking, not unkindly, just steady. The way a man walks when he has somewhere to be. That matters more than the last 9 hours. At the door, Idella caught his eye. She didn't apologize. She just said, quietly, I hope your daughter feels better. Thank you, he said, and meant it more than she probably knew. He drove straight to Marlene's, breaking 2 speed limits he'd have lectured Wren about if she'd been in the car to see it, and found his daughter curled on the couch under a blanket covered in cartoon foxes, cheeks pink with fever, hair still in that lopsided braid, because nobody had thought to fix it, because it wasn't the kind of thing that needed fixing, not really, not to her. Daddy, she said, and didn't ask why he was late, didn't ask about the meeting, didn't ask anything, except to be picked up, which he did, fever and all, folding her against his chest the way he'd folded that bent file folder all day, like the only solid thing in the room. Did you get the job? She mumbled into his shoulder. He thought about the 9th floor, the pen, the 211 names, the folder with Idella's, flagged in red. Something like that, he said. She didn't ask what that meant. She was already asleep, her fever warm against his neck, and Odell stood in his sister-in-law's living room holding his daughter and thinking that of all the rooms he'd been made to feel small in that day, This was the only one where it had never once mattered.
Sometimes the people we walk past every day are carrying more than we will ever know. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs a reminder to be kind, even when it costs you nothing but a little patience. Subscribe for more stories like this one.